Good to see you here. Welcome to the Wisdom of the Fox. My name is Deepak, and I'm hosting this forum of sorts to share a few insights, stories, reflections, learnings, mostly made of failures from my own experiments with it. But generally, I'm here to make a connection. It's also a story about a fox, a busy road, and just a moment in life that asked me to slow down and really listen. So it was a typical morning, one of those days where you have a clear agenda ahead. I was starting with my new workplace. It was my first day at my job. Perhaps that's why the stories are even more interesting because it shows the contrast between what was expected of me in terms of joining my first day of work, impressing my team, my managers. I had worked really hard to join this brand. I'd done various interviews, various workshops, and I felt really validated when I got the offer. I felt like the universe was listening to my asks, and I felt really grateful. So clearly, I start the day, this fresh start at work. My mind is filled with what kind of meetings are going to occur, when I'm going to meet my manager, how I'm going to create that first great impression. So I went on a morning walk just to clear my head a little bit before a long day of remote meetings at this new workplace. So on my walk, something caught my eye right in like 5 minutes into the walk. And on the side of this busy road, A41, just nestled in the grass by a bank, like a hilly bank, was a fox. Maybe in my first time in my life, I was looking at a fox this close in front of me. So it took a while to register that this animal was a fox. So, in the area that I live in, foxes are not uncommon. I've heard them in the night. I've seen a few of them scurrying around, even in the daytime sometimes. That's the beauty of urban foxes. They get used to the environment that they live in. So you see them darting through buildings, rummaging through bins. But I often associated foxes with that sort of site of urban chaos. They're cunning, they're quick, and they're classed as somewhat of a nuisance, especially in the UK. Pretty sure in the rest of the world as well. I'm not sure. Perhaps you could provide me some learnings on that. But in the UK, fox hunting is a prevalent practice. It's a controversial one, and generally because foxes are seen as pests, as unwelcome visitors on our streets. Um, it's given a green tick to continue this exercise. Needless to say, this experience was different because the fox here wasn't moving. Um, its head was moving, but its body was still, and it was severely injured on one of its hind legs. But it was just lying there quietly, um, waiting for something or someone. I kept walking because I remember clearly Linkin Park was playing on my headphones. Um, and I was motivated to continue my walk, but something in me made me turn back. And in that moment, everything else, when I looked into the fox's eye, the job, the meeting, the onboarding calls, everything just faded away. There I was, standing on the pavement, staring into the eyes of an animal that needed help. Now, I've thought a lot about this moment since it's happened. why did I stop? Why didn't I keep walking like everyone else probably would have? Sorry, I'm making an assumption there. Like some of us probably would have. So I wasn't raised in a house where, animal rights or ban fox hunting was discussed in my household. But there was clearly something about this fox, something that the way that it looked at me, it made me feel like this encounter was meant to happen. I know it sounds strange, but I felt a connection with this animal. It wasn't pity, exactly. It wasn't feeling morally superior as a human, as if I was doing a great, noble thing. It just felt simply right to be with that animal in that moment. And the decision to stay there, to do whatever I could to help, wasn't driven by logic or obligation, because clearly, first day at my job, logic went out of the window. Um, it was driven by an instinct, something deep inside me, and something for the first time in a very long time. Maybe I always had this in me, but I felt truly present with the fox in that moment. I wasn't thinking about what was happening next or what I was supposed to do. I was just there in that moment with the fox. Obviously, my instincts uh, came into next gear. I called a lot of uh, rescue charities, some specifically for foxes, mostly for injured animals. Uh, they were all busy doing other rescue operations, so I understood. It was a little bit frustrating at that point that the animal couldn't be rescued. My wife was away with my car, so I actually gave her a call and told her, whenever you get your next break, could you bring that down so that she worked very close by. So if you could bring that down and we could take this fox to the vets. I won't tell you about the details of what happened next, and needless to say, we took the fox to the vets. But the idea around this is foxes are gravely misunderstood in the UK. Historically, we've looked at them as pests or sports. But when you really stop and observe them, you realize that there's so much more to these creatures. They're incredibly adaptable. They thrive in cities as much as they thrive in countrysides. They're clever, resourceful. They always seem to know exactly where to go, even in like super chaotic environments. And to me, there's a great wisdom in adaptability. Foxes, like any animal, they don't cling to the past or worry about their future. They live with a kind of clarity that we as humans often lose in the rush of our daily lives. In the moment with that fox, I realized that it was truly teaching me something without words, without any grand gestures. It was teaching me the power of presence, of being where you are and adapting to what is this particular scenario, this ecosystem that we're in. So with that huge adaptability learning that I got from that instant, obviously it wasn't instantaneous, but it took a while to reflect upon it. I was already late for my meeting, and the logical part of my brain was nagging me to leave. But I spent a few hours there waiting for the fox to be rescued. And you know what? It didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like this was the most important thing I could have done in that moment. Not because I was trying to be a good person. Well, there is a little bit of that. I mean, not all actions are purely humility based. There's always a tinge of selfishness driven in our actions, but we'll explore that more in future forums, of course. But I just thought it was super natural for me to be there And the connection that I felt with the fox was beyond reason, beyond any obligation. I just stayed there because it was just the right thing to do at that time. Not just for me, but for the universe in a way. And I know it's a strange thing to say because what is this event in this large universe of ours? But I had to be there. It was a classroom for me, a tiny little classroom with a great teacher, the fox being my teacher. So what I learned most from this experience was not just compassion and empathy for an animal in need. I also learned the importance of connecting to a moment, connecting to the world around us, connecting to our deeper instincts. So often we are caught up in the rush of life, thinking about the next thing, thinking about the next task, thinking about the next goal, that we forget to notice what's right in front of us. And it doesn't really have to be a fox, right? It could be anything. It could be a bird on a windowsill, the wind in the trees, autumnal leaves on the ground, even a quiet moment with your pets. I have 4 cats and I have tons of stories about them as well, as you can imagine. These are the moments where true wisdom resides, not in books or theories, but in the simple act of being present with nature, nature in all of its forms. And I see this kind of wisdom ever present in nature, in my cats, in that fox, in all animals. They just don't overthink. They don't stress out about the future. They simply live. Maybe that's something that we all need to learn, that I need to learn, to slow down, to observe, to take cues from the natural world around us. After all, wisdom isn't just found in complexities and philosophical concepts or psychology, cognition. Wisdom is found in the simplest things, and nature offers us that wisdom. So, as you go about your day, I invite you to take a moment, to pause, to take a breath, to reflect what is right in front of you that you haven't noticed before. It could be around out and about in your surroundings right now. It could be something that you have seen thousands of times whilst passing, but never truly reflected upon. Um, Even just how the light filters through your window on a particular day. There is deep wisdom in those moments. If you're only willing to slow down and listen. Thank you for joining me on this forum that I call Wisdom of the Fox. I'm very grateful that you took some time out of your schedule to share this with me, to share your listening. I hope I've um, asked you, requested you to look at this in a way which allows you to go on your reflection journey inside in a more calm, reflective manner, in a more observant manner. I am nothing but um, a vehicle for all of these observations, and I will make plenty of mistakes, both in my sharing of my knowledge, uh, but I ask for your forgiveness and your empathy in terms of understanding, and I hope we can really connect on a few other journeys ahead where we can all share our stories collectively. Until then, this is Deepak, and I'll see you on the next Wisdom of the Fox. Have a great day.